Shalom. I do want to start off this quick lesson by saying all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, and QADASH for giving me the opportunity to do this lesson. I do want to give double honor to the elders and Apostle GREATMILLSTONE for teaching the truth by using precept upon precepts and line upon line. This lesson I do want to get into today is about war is being prepared. War is being prepared. When I was watching Canadian Prepper, and obviously I watched it like 9 minutes and I had to do a lesson, he has stated the information about how basically all nations are preparing for war. All NATO nations are preparing for war. All right. Why? Because they know it's inevitable. They know it's avoidable. They know it's something that they can't stop. It's just going to come. And they're all getting prepared as we speak. And is that not according to prophecy? Is not according to Book of Joel 3 verse 9 saying, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." And that's what's happening right now. They're all getting prepared for war. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know who it was. I think it was Turkey or UK or France. I don't know who it was, but they said that they're going to put troops in Ukraine. They're getting ready to put troops in Ukraine. They're getting ready to fight Russia. And who's going to fight Iran? America. We're about to go to war, And they're getting prepared for it right now as we speak. Or they're getting prepared for it right now. It's not, look, man, prophecy has not slowed down. It has sped up fast. Why? Because this man kingdom is falling apart. It is ordained to happen. Let's grab another precept real quick, and I'm going to go back to Joel 3. Revelation 11 and 14 says this: "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." Call YAHAWAH shall look at the time. 144. Revelation 11 verse 14. "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." We're in the days where World War III is about to come to pass. We're in the days where prophecy is about to be fulfilled, and they're getting prepared for it. All right, and what's going to happen in the pinnacle of World War III? What's going to happen when all hell about to break loose? All right, MOTB. He's going to bring out the MOTB. He's going to say that's a good thing to do. Hey, if you take it, what's going to happen? You're going to get utterly destroyed thermonuclear missiles. But going back to the point, we're entering World War III. All right, so let's go back to Book of Joel 3, verse 9, and then let's play the video real quick, okay? And you guys listen up. It's like 9 minutes long. You guys should listen, hear, and see how prophecy is being spoken alive. It's speaking alive right now.
This is your World War III update. There has been a lot that has transpired in the last 48 hours. I probably got about 50 stories that we need to enumerate in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to give you the 30,000-foot view of what's happening right now. Many people are confused about the apparent disbanding of NATO and the abandonment of Ukraine and Europe by the United States. Nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm going to try to explain it as simply as possible because it's incredibly convoluted right now and requires a lot of disambiguation. Now, understand that this is a world war. And in world wars, it ultimately is always binary. Like most wars, there's one side and there's another side. There's an antagonist and a protagonist. Of course, everybody always thinks they're the protagonist in the story, but sometimes they're in fact the antagonist. Now, sometimes you get a Mexican standoff situation like you had in World War II, where you had three main belligerents, at least for a while. You had the Transatlantic Alliance, you had the Germans, and then you had the Soviets. Ultimately, frenemies emerge. Enemy of my enemy is my friend, which of course was the Soviets, who were the enemy of Germany, and so were we. So we teamed up with the Soviets, we defeated the Germans, and then ultimately they became our arch nemesis. So it was East versus West, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Now, because of the United States is in its economic death throes, as we speak. The debt is way too high. The economy, the true economy, and the true inflation is far, far worse than they're ever going to let on. And because of that, they're spread far too thin, but they have wars emerging on multiple fronts. In fact, just today, they removed the wording in the relationship, as the State Department of the United States, the wording that they had in expressing their relationship with Taiwan, indicating that now they essentially view Taiwan as potentially an independent state from China, which has always been a big no-no and against the policy of strategic ambiguity towards the Taiwanese. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, distinctly said the other day that we now have to focus on the Pacific and Europe needs to pull its own weight. That's not to say that they're going to pull their B-52 bombers armed with nuclear weapons and their Stratotankers and their rivet joint planes and all of their fancy equipment and F-35s that they have distributed throughout Europe in bunkers, in the military bases that they're building out, the thousands and tens of thousands of troops that they have throughout Europe. This does not mean that the whole thing is going to start to dissolve. Not at all. What it means is you guys are going to up your military spend to the tune of trillions of more dollars a year, most of which is going to likely come from Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman and Raytheon. And so
And I put the subtitles here just in case you guys couldn't hear the video because I do have my headphones on, my AirPods, so called. So if you guys can't hear it, you guys just have to read the subtitles. But the point is basically is that America, people had a notation or idea that America is going to leave NATO when that's really not the case. NATO is not going to be dismantled. The reason why America is pulling back their stuff is not because they want, the NATO nations to pull their behinds up. Well, kinda, yes, it's two ways. Yes, they do. But they're getting prepared for war. And they want the other nation to be war ready. They want the other nation to be ready for the resources, be ready for money, be ready for everything. Because they're planning to gather themselves up to go to war with Russia and China and the other nation that's like-minded with Russia. World War III. Book of Joshua 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Why? Because they're all about to start getting their plowshares ready and make great destruction. If you're raising up money, if a nation is raising up money and military power and resources and training their citizens for different scenarios, they're getting prepared for war. If I'm not mistaken, I think Germany was teaching their kids how to I don't know who it was. Some of them was teaching them how to use a gun, and some other students, other countries was teaching their kids how to survive a nuclear fallout. All right, and why is that? Because basically we're about to go to war. Because we're about to go to because they're planning to go to World War III with other nations. All right, and my phone just went nighttime mode, so everything just went dark and all that stuff. But forgive me on that one. But the message stayed the same. The fact that they're teaching that shows that they're about to go to war. The fact that they're putting that out there shows that war is about to come to pass very soon. All right, so prophecy is coming near. George 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, and wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10. Bleed your plowshares into swords and your springing hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And all those nations that's been bullied by America all these years, they're going to rise up with Russia and say, I'm strong against America. And how they're going to be saying, I'm strong, they're going to get nuclear ICBM missiles too. Russia's going to provide these nations with ICBM missiles just so they could stand up for themselves. All right, is not Russia allied with Iran? Does not Russia could just send Iran nukes and to defend themselves? Yes. So what is it not hard for him to do the same thing for the other nation? No, it's not. He did that for I think it was the 2000 crisis when there was nukes near Florida. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was right there. But the Cuban crisis, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it's called, a Cuban crisis. But you should do your research on that. But basically, Russia sent the Soviets. There were Soviets back in the days. That's what it was called. They sent their nukes to Cuba to hit Russia, to hit America. Excuse me, slip of the tongue, to hit America. So it's showing you that in history, it wasn't hard for Soviets to just send nukes in one land just so they could defend themselves to hit America. It's not that hard. So what's stopping them to do that again? What's stopping Russia to do that again? Nothing is stopping Russia to do that again. All right, so we're entering prophecy of World War III. We're about to enter the prophecy of World War III. And what comes after World War III? Obviously, not the beginning of World War III, before the aftermath of the hard hit of World War III is going to be the MOTB. Then the real harsh of the World War III is going to come to pass. Then what's going to happen? Nuclear fallout is going to happen, and it's going to be a beautiful day in those days. It's going to be a beautiful day because that's when everything's going to be cut down. Esau, Edom captivity, or this hellhole bills, everything's going to be cut off in those days. Everything's going to be stopped. And the only thing that's going to deliver you out of those days is YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. If you have done nothing for him, good luck. If you have done something for him, you have hope. All right? Because that's the only thing that's going to keep you stable in those days is that hope in YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. You know? So let's continue on playing the video real quick and let him, bring out more information.
This is a way to war mobilize the economy, build a war economy on the basis of militarizing Europe against the Russians. Don't think for a second that the Russians are being fooled by this pablum that they're serving up the public when they say, yeah, the Russians and the Americans share similar traditional values and they're unifying and blah, blah, blah. Not by a long shot, not even remotely close. Not only will the Russians never trust the Americans ever again, even if they did, that Pete Hegseth said that you need to...
That's the spirit. If I'm not mistaken, it was Elder Pastor that said that the same way how the Heavenly Father hardened Pharaoh's heart to not let Israel go into captivity, the same how he basically made Pharaoh stiff neck to his own belief to make sure he keeps Israel in captivity to basically do wickedness. The same way how the Heavenly Father is going to put his spirit on Putin to be stiff-necked, to not trust America, to not be, worried about them. In those days when all hell break loose and Putin got the upper hand to shoot his nukes, and America pleads for let's talk about it. America's gonna plead for it. He's not gonna be with that. He's not gonna be in a spirit of negotiation. Why? Because Yahweh Shema Shai is gonna put the spirit upon Putin to fulfill prophecy. To do what Yahweh Shema Shai wants to do to America, to make the land desolate for all the wickedness they have done for all these years, for not repenting, for keeping the Israelites in captivity to this day, or for promoting sodomy, for blasphemy the Heavenly Father's name, for destroying other nations, for making unrighteous decrees, living pridefully all these years. All those things are gonna be fulfilled in those days, and Putin's gonna be hard headed in those days. He's gonna be stiff necked, just like how he's not trusting America anymore. The same way how as soon as the decision comes to shoot those nukes, and America says we won't do that again, he's not going to trust America. He's not going to trust America.
Prepare your countries to fight the Russians, and you need to up your military spend to 5% a year. In what reality would any Russian politician genuinely believe that was a good thing, aside just doing so for diplomacy's sake and exhibiting the political niceties necessary in order to continue the conversation? The Russians know full well what's happening. The Americans now need an intermediary in the form of Europe who can back the Ukrainian proxy and take on the lion's share of the responsibility, so not only to mitigate the prospect of potential nuclear escalation, but also to bear the lion's share of the economic load. And so that's what this is all about, guys. They're not abandoning the Europeans. Now, what could potentially happen is somebody could misread the situation. Right now in Europe, they're going to be calling an emergency meeting in just a few hours from now. All of the main leaders of all the big countries, from France, from Italy to UK, they're all coming together. They're having an emergency meeting on how they are going to deal with the Ukrainian crisis. Effectively, what it's going to amount to is buying a lot of American weapons so that America can focus on the Pacific, because it now just picked a fight with the Chinese. You stack on all of the sanctions and the trade war that's escalating with China, and then you reword things in terms of your approach with Taiwan, you could see that that situation is going to spiral out of control real quick. You also have the situation in Iran developing. Basically, Trump has given Netanyahu free rein in order to do strikes on Iran. And today they discussed that plan distinctively. And if
Who's going to protect Iran? Who's going to guard the Middle East? Let's grab that precept real quick. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38. First, let's go straight to the point. I want to go straight to the point. So let's go to verse 4. All right. This is talking Gog and Magog talking about Russia. So let's go straight to the point. Verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy armies, horse and horsemen, and all of them, clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company of bucklers and shields, all of them, but handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, yeah, and them, all of them with a shield and helmet. Basically, all the Middle East that allies with Russia. All right, Gomor and all his bands, in the house of Tugamar of the north quarter, and all his bands, and many of with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all of thy company, thou art assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Who's gonna be a guard unto the Middle East? Russia. Are they? You just heard Canadian preppers saying that they just had they basically approved an attack on Iran. Israel had to approve an attack on Iran. So who's gonna come there to protect Iran? Russia. That's why I'm trying to say that what? We're entering World War III. We're in the days of World War III. We're entering World War III. Trump knows that. That's why in the meeting in Trump was quiet. Because he knows they're about to do something dangerous. And they know they're not going to win this war. They all know that. They hoping like hell they win the war. They talking to demons. They're praying. They're doing rituals. They doing all these things just to win. But they're not going to win. They're not going to win. All right, but are they going to admit that? No, because they're prideful individuals. All right, let's go to Obadiah 1. Let's go to verse 3 real quick. It says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in the heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that is America. That is Esau Edom. He's so prideful to the point where he doesn't really see his own downfall. Why? Because he believes he's a god himself. He believes that nothing could touch America. When in these days, America's about to get touched by many rods, multiple of them bitches. All right, Scripture says, I don't know, 2,000. That's and this place about to get touched, and it's about to be wiped away from for his wickedness. And can I see it? No. Why? Because their pride have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the cleft from the rocks, whose habitation high, that saith in the heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. So even though they pride themselves into these things, what's going to happen? YAHWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI is going to bring them down in those days. He's going to tear them apart. Why? For all their wickedness. And all these things is coming to pass as we speak. All right. So let's go back to Ezekiel 38. Verse 38. 38. Let's go to verse 11. That's not what it is. Verse 7, actually. Ezekiel 38, verse 7. Be thou prepared and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy companies, who is thou, Russia, and all his allies, and thou art assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, be a protector. And that's what's going to come to pass. Russia's going to be protector for Iran, and including to the other nations that's with Iran, and going to war with America and Israel and the other nations that's with America. All right. And America is fighting damn near what, 2 wars? Because America's going to be fighting Russia. They're going to be, okay, America's going to be fighting China for Taiwan, because Taiwan is the place that makes chips. They need chips because of a new digital age of AI. Because we're entering the fourth evolution, where AI and internet of things is like the way to go living now. Just like how, first revolution, the second revolution, there was technology, trains, all that stuff, factories. And then now it's going to be, AIs. We're going to be entering the AIs one. That's basically what's going to happen. And Taiwan is like the pinnacle of that evolution. And whoever take over Taiwan basically controls the fourth revolution. They basically control the new world. That's why that come to pass. So when World War III starts, China and America is gonna go to war in that area to take over Taiwan. Taiwan is gonna defend themselves because Taiwan has history with China and they don't fuck with each other. So they're gonna be a side of America. Now in Europe side, people need to take care of Ukraine with Russia because Ukraine's gonna start going full haul on that, and NATO nations gonna be in danger of that too because NATO nations is gonna be helping America with the war. So NATO nations got to put troops down on Ukraine to push back Russia to make sure their back is okay. Because after that, when they push back Russia, they're gonna be helping America and Israel in the Middle East to attack Iran because of Israel purposes. So there's gonna be three fronts: the one in Europe, the one in Taiwan, and the other one in the Middle East. Even though Europe and that's not Europe, that's Asia. I don't know why I said Europe. One in Asia, one in the Middle East. Middle East in Asia is the same thing. The whole continent that's Asia. People could be like, oh, that's Western Asia. That's all it is. Middle East is Western Asia. But to make everybody understand, Western Asia or Middle East, Asia, and Taiwan and China right there, that water area is gonna be like the three pinnacle places where World War III will start and where all hope break loose. But where is the pinnacle? The Valley of Jehoshaphat. Let's go back to the book of Joel, chapter 3. Let's go to verse where I left off. Okay, 12. Let's go to 12. Yep. So let's go to verse 11. It says, assemble yourself and come, all ye heathens, and gather yourself together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. Verse 12, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, or Yahweh Shaphat, or Yahweh judgment. Or because Yahweh Shema is going to judge all the nation for what they had done to the Israelites, so-called Negroes, like to the American. For there will I sit to judge all the heathens round about. And that's within what? World War III. Why do you think you guys see UAPs, so-called UAPs? You guys call them UAPs because it's unidentified, but we know who they are. Those are the chariots of Yahweh Shema Shai. Why do you think you see the chariots of Yahweh Shema Shai flying around? The reason why you see them is because they're here for prophecy's sake to save Israel. That's what they're here for. To judge the heathen for what they had done to the Israelites, so-called Negroes, like to the Americans. This seems to sound bugged out to you guys right now because you're like, wow, this is crazy. Like, no, it's not. It's just aliens. They're not children. It sound crazy right now. But when prophecy starts talking and everything we said came true, and they go in the Middle East and all the military powers to gather themselves up in the Middle East in those days, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? As soon as every prophecy we spoken out came to true to pass, do you not think that the Valley of Jehoshaphat is going to come to pass too? It is. And as soon as you see that in the news, you will realize that you done fucked up. And all you heathens that had touched the apple of the Heavenly Father eye, you guys all about to go into captivity in those days. Because that shows that what? Everybody kingdom has fallen. And Jacob kingdom is going to begin right there and then. Let's continue on playing the video.
Wording is to be taken as any sort of metric in terms of how serious they are with doing this thing. It's looking very likely that they're going to do some sort of targeted campaign against Iran in the coming months ahead. So you have three primary fronts, and this doesn't include North Korea and certain parts of Africa that could indeed flare up as well in their own way. But primarily, the U.S. is in its economic death throes. It's stretched thin. It has to focus on the Pacific because it's picking a fight with the biggest elephant in the room of them all, and that's the Chinese. And so it needs Europe to start buying its weapons to kickstart its economy so that it can stretch this out a little bit longer. But understand this, what I would call a disambiguation or a alignment. This is the alignment phase of World War III, okay? Everybody has their own strategic agency. By everybody, I mean all nations involved. They all have their own unique set of economic interests that come into play, but they have to reach some sort of consensus, which usually involves making sacrifices of their own sovereignty for the greater good. And this is why alliances are never good against homogenous armies, because they're never going to want to put their best foot forward. UK, Italy, France are never going to want to give their best weapons to the Ukrainians because they might need them someday. And that allows the Russians to, piece by piece, continue to break off little pieces of NATO, which of course they haven't yet, and that would likely lead to the invocation of Article 5. And even Trump thinks that the Russians aren't going to try to do that, and I would have to agree. But remember what Trump is saying, everything Trump says right now towards Russia is purely to try to appease.
Hold on real quick. I got a precept for that too. Psalm chapter 55. And basically, if you wasn't listening, basically Canadian Prepper was saying that Trump is using smooth words against Russia so they could distract them for a moment of time. But Russia's not, being tricked by that because they know what America's doing. They don't trust America anymore. Basically, Psalm 55 verse 21. Let's get it real quick. Psalm 55 verse 21 says this: the word of his mouth were smoother than butter. And that's basically what Trump is doing. His words are smoother. He's trying to be happy. He's trying to be playful with Russia so he could distract them. But war is in his heart. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's just a distraction. Because at the end of the day, what is America trying to do? They're trying to destroy Russia. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's basically what's happening right now. Trump is playing those smooth words, but it's really just drawn swords. And that's essentially what's happening right now. And Putin knows that, so he's basically getting prepared too. Yes, Putin did lower down his guard a little bit so he could see, if he's wrong or not, because he doesn't know. But it's still going to escalate to the point of World War III, basically.
The Russians at this point in time and try to buy more time. Trump knows full well that they are diametrically opposed economically, militarily, geographically, and even culturally to an extent against the Russians. But at least for the time being, they have to play nice. And the Russians are going to play along because it's good for the Moscow Stock Exchange. It's great for the people of the country who need a little bit of relief. They've been in a constant state of war for 3 years with the threat of the draft looming overhead. Putin has been able to maintain popularity throughout this period of time. But of course, everybody needs a break. However, if the United States takes the foot off the gas of the maximum pressure campaign and Europe does not pick up the slack, then Russia runs the risk of becoming potentially far more, I don't want to say insurmountably powerful, but becoming a lot more powerful than they are today. And there's no way you're going to be able to drive a wedge between the Chinese and the Russians, especially when you just rebranded Taiwan as a possibly independent state. We'll talk about the actual verbiage they used in just a moment. But that's what's going on, okay? The U.S. is stretched too thin, and they need Europe to pull its weight, and that they will do. Like I said, you're having an emergency.
And since America put up so much weight, what do you think they're gonna do in America? They're gonna end this draft. That's why I believe it was somewhere in 2020 or 2024, 2023, 2024. They said that women could go in could go World War II. The reason why they said that is because the reason why they put that in a bill and they put it as a pass was because there's planning to grab people in America to draft them to go to war. All right, and the majority there's more women in America than men. So basically, they're going to use women as cannon fodders. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to grab women that has no kids, no family. You just a regular woman that's staying at your people's house. You're going to grab your ass up and you're going to send your ass in the war. That's what they're going to do. All right. When Trump got in office, he did not cross out that bill that Biden passed. He didn't cross that out. Remember that. Some of the stuff that Biden put, Trump didn't cross out because that's their mission to go to war. Every war tax that Biden put, Trump have not crossed it out. he has not crossed it out because the whole point of America is that it's a two. I forgot that metaphor, Slovakia, but it's basically a eagle can't fly without two wings, basically. Even though the eagle has one left and the other right, they still have the same goal to one target, to go to war, and that's all it is. All right, that's why the election was rigged in the beginning, because at the end of the day, they're still going to go to war. It doesn't matter which side you picked. If you picked Kamala, we're finna go to war and we're finna be in a famine. If you pick Trump, we're just gonna be in war. That's really it. So that's basically the time we're in, and we're basically about to go to War 3. You're entering the prophecy of War 3. But that's all I want to get into today. Lord, you edified by this lesson. I do want to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, for giving me the opportunity to do this lesson. I do want to give double honors to the elders and apostle GREATMILLSTONE for teaching the truth by using precept upon precepts and line upon line. Shalom.